All right, good morning. It's time to go over the questions that you had yesterday, where you're supposed to convert some pressures. And remember, you were given that 760 millimeters of mercury equals 1 ATM, which equals 101.3 kilopascals. So I have up on the board the three ratios that we talked about. So we're going to use one of those. So the first one, black, which is 760 millimeters of mercury and 1 ATM. The middle one, which is red, 1 ATM and 101.3 kilopascals. The last one, which is green, 760 millimeters of mercury over 101.3 kilopascals. So all it is it's a ratio of each of the three different pressures. So the first one, you were given 9.2 atmospheres, and we were supposed to first turn it into kilopascals. So we're talking about atmospheres and kilopascals. Which one up there is atmospheres and kilopascals? It's the red one. So we're going to use 1 ATM over 101.3 kilopascals. All right. And then on the other side, we use, what they gave us. Well, I don't have 1 ATM. I have 9.2 ATMs. We're going to try to find out X kilopascals. So from there, cross multiply. We're going to go 1 times X equals 101.3 times 9.2. So X ends up equaling, the answer would be 931.96, and that is kilopascals. So there's our answer for that one, at least for the first half of it. The second half, we're supposed to do it atmospheres to millimeters of mercury. So atmospheres to millimeters of mercury, that's the first one up here, the black one. So we're going to go 760 millimeters of mercury over 1 ATM equals, and again, we've got 9.2 atmospheres, so that's on the bottom where atmospheres are, and X goes on the top. So we're going to go X times 1 equals 760 times 9.2. If you multiply that out, you get 6,992 millimeters of mercury is that pressure. All right, so that was the first one. That was letter A. All right, letter B. Letter B, they gave us 203 kilopascals. We're supposed to go kilopascals to atmospheres. So that's the middle one here. 1 ATM is 101.3 kilopascals. They gave us 203 kPa. And we want to find out, well, how many atmospheres is that? So now we're going to go X times 101 equals 1 times 203. Now you get X by itself, so divide by the 101.3 on both sides. And X ends up equaling 2. So it's 2 atmospheres. Second half of that, we got to go kPa to millimeters of mercury. Well, kPa to millimeters of mercury, that's this guy. So 760 millimeters of mercury and 101.3 kPa. And then they gave us 203 kilopascals. And we want to find out how many millimeters of mercury that is. So cross multiply, you get 101.3 times X equals 760 times 203. Divide by 101.3 on both sides. Whoops, make that 101. That gives us X equals, and the answer on that one is 1,523 millimeters of mercury is our answer. Now again, remember that really what this is saying is that 203 kilopascals they gave us is the same as 2 atmospheres, is the same as 1,523 millimeters of mercury. It's just different units. It's like trying to say 10 dimes, 20 nickels, and 100 pennies. It's all the same value, all right? Just different units is all it is. All right, next one. That was letter B. I'm going to letter C. Letter C, they gave us 3.3 atmospheres. We got to change it to kPa. So atmospheres and kPa, that's the middle one. So we got 1 ATM over 101.3 kilopascals. And then they gave us 3.3 atmospheres. So I don't have 1.1, I got 3.3. And we're going to find X kPa. Cross multiply. So we got 1 times x equals 101.3 times 3.3. So x ends up equaling 334. And that's kilopascals, kPa. All right, then we go to the second part. We have to change atmospheres to millimeters of mercury. So that's the black one that's up there. So we got 760 millimeters of mercury over 1 ATM. And instead of 1 ATM, we actually have 3.3 ATMs. And we're going to find x millimeters of mercury. So cross multiply x times 1 equals 760 times 3.3. So x equals this big number of 2,508, and that was millimeters of mercury, which is the same as 334 kPa, which is the same as 3.3 atmospheres. They're all the same value. They're just different units, that's all. So go to the last one, letter D. All right, letter D, they gave us 947 millimeters of mercury, and we got to change it to ATMs. So we're going to use the black one up there. So we got 760 millimeters of mercury is 1 ATM. But I don't have 760, I got 947 millimeters of mercury. We're going to find x. So cross multiply 760 times x equals 947 times 1. I gotta get x by itself, so divide by 760, divide by 760, and x ends up equaling 1.25 atmospheres. Sorry, got something in my eye like an eyelash. All right, second part. Now we gotta change that millimeters of mercury into kPa. So millimeters of mercury and kPa, that's the green one that's up there. So 760 millimeters of mercury is 101.3 kPa. And they didn't give us 760, they gave us 947 millimeters of mercury over x. Cross multiply 760 times x equals 101.3 times 947. Divide by 760, divide by 760. X equals 126 kPa. All right, there's all your answers. I do want to remind you again on these videos that you've been watching. A bunch of the videos in this chapter are ones that I made last spring, in the spring of 2020. And so they do reference some homework assignments that I had assigned during that time. Don't worry about those assignments. Just do the ones that are assigned to you on Canvas. All right, so when it tells you, make sure you do those questions and then email them to me. Don't email them to me. All right, submit everything via Canvas, utilizing the assignments that are on there. Okay, I liked the videos that I did way back when. I felt they were interesting. Some of them are kind of funny, especially my wife. She really adds a real flair to my presentations, so you don't have to listen to my boring voice all the time. So I hope you appreciate those. And again, don't worry about the when it says, make sure you do that assignment. All right, just do the assignments as they are in Canvas. So we'll see you next time. Have a great day.